Because of why I search the deep through endless nights, no time to sleep. The call inside I can't deny. I'll find the light because of why.
All right, today we're going to tackle a really fascinating economic puzzle right from the heart of Europe. We're talking about the Czech Republic. It's a key member of the EU, but it still uses its own currency, the Koruna, when pretty much all its neighbors are on the euro. So what's going on there? Let's get into it. You know, when you travel around the EU, you just get used to seeing the euro everywhere. It's simple, it's convenient. But then you land in Prague, one of Europe's biggest hubs, and suddenly you're paying for things in Czech koruna. So what is the deal? Why has this super successful, totally integrated country always said, you know what, not yet, to the common currency? So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the puzzle itself, especially by comparing the Czechs to their closest neighbors. Then we'll dive right into the economic reasons for keeping the koruna, before touching on the huge role that politics and public opinion play. We'll also see why Slovakia went the other way, and then we'll wrap up by looking at what the future might hold. Okay, so let's start with the puzzle. And honestly, to really get the Czech decision, you have to look at it through this lens of what people call a tale of two twins, the Czech Republic and its closest cousin, Slovakia. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because look how similar their starting points were. I mean, both countries were born together in 1993. And they both joined the European Union at the exact same time in 2004. But just 5 years later, their paths went in completely different directions. Slovakia jumped right in and adopted the euro, but the Czech Republic, they hit the brakes. Why did two countries that are so similar make such wildly different choices? So let's get into those different paths. The biggest piece of this puzzle really starts with the economy. For the people making the decisions in the Czech Republic, the whole argument for keeping the koruna pretty much boils down to one single crucial word: control. And you know, you don't even have to dig through academic papers to understand this. This quote from a regular person on Reddit, it just nails the main economic argument. The real power is with the CNB, that's the Czech National Bank, and the financial tools it gets to use because it controls its own currency. So what are these tools we're talking about? Well, it all comes down to this idea of an independent monetary policy. Just think of it like a country's very own financial first aid kit. When a crisis hits, say a big recession, having your own currency gives you specific tools you can use to respond. And these are the very tools you have to give up when you join the Eurozone and hand over the keys to the European Central Bank. And this is exactly how that first aid kit works. I like to think of it as an economic immune system. If the economy starts to get sick and slow down, the national bank can just cut interest rates to make it cheaper for people and businesses to borrow and spend. And even better, the koruna's value can float down on its own. That automatically makes all the stuff the Czech Republic sells, like cars, way cheaper for other countries to buy. It's a natural built-in boost right when you need it most. And look, this isn't just some theory that economists argue about. It's official state policy. A government report from 2018 made it absolutely crystal clear. They basically said that losing control of their own monetary policy was such a big deal that they saw no way of joining the euro area at that time. That's a pretty strong line in the sand. But hey, this story isn't just about economics. Not even close. To really get the full picture, we have to talk about two even more powerful forces: politics and, well, what regular people actually think. Okay, take a good look at this number. 74.4%. This huge majority is probably the single biggest reason the Czech Republic doesn't use the euro today. So, what is it? Yup, that massive number is the percentage of Czechs who are against adopting the euro in a 2022 survey. And it's not a fluke. For years, poll after poll has shown the same thing. Roughly 7 out of every 10 citizens are against the move. For any politician, that is a gigantic obstacle to overcome. So why are people so skeptical? Well, it's a mix of national pride and some pretty recent history. First, there's just a general level of Euroscepticism, combined with a really strong desire for national sovereignty. They want to influence policy, not just get told what to do. A lot of that is rooted in a long history of being wary of outside powers. But the real kicker is that the Koruna has proven itself. It held up great during the 2008 financial crisis, and that gave people a ton of confidence in their own currency. Okay, so now let's go back to our tale of two twins to really see the contrast. Slovakia, as we know, took the exact opposite path. So why did they decide to jump into the Eurozone when the Czechs were holding back? Well, the whole mood in Slovakia was just completely different. There was tons of what you'd call Euro optimism, with public support for it always over 60%. People were focused on the benefits, like getting rid of currency exchange fees and risks. Plus, their own currency, the Slovak Koruna, had a much shorter history, so people just weren't as attached to it. And maybe most importantly, for a young nation, adopting the euro felt like the final step to fully joining the West and making their economy stable for the long run. Now this might be the most surprising slide of them all. This table looks at something called economic convergence, which is basically how fast a country is catching up to the average EU economy. And get this, between 2009, when Slovakia joined the euro, and 2020, Slovakia's economy actually fell back a little bit compared to the EU average. But in that same time, the Czech Republic, without the euro, saw its economy grow from 87% to 93% of the EU average. Now, this doesn't prove the euro was a bad idea for Slovakia, but it sure does show that keeping the Koruna did not hold the Czech economy back. So, after weighing all of this, the economics, the politics, the public opinion, what does the future actually hold for the Czech Koruna? Well, the official answer is pretty clear. The status quo is here to stay. As recently as 2022, the country's two most important financial institutions, the National Bank and the Ministry of Finance, got together and jointly recommended, you guessed it, that the country should not adopt the euro, for now. So while the debate never really goes away, it seems like things are going to stay the same for a while. And that really leaves us with the big central question here. Is holding on to the Koruna a really smart defensive move that protects their economy? Or is it a missed opportunity that's holding the country back from being part of a more united European future? And really, that's the core of the whole debate. So we'd love to know what you think. Is the Koruna a smart defense, or is it a missed opportunity? Let us know down in the comments. And hey, if you found this explainer interesting, do us a favor and hit that like button, share it with a friend, and make sure to subscribe for more deep dives just like this one. Thanks for watching.